This is the final episode of this particular training. And so what I would like to do is do a review, and then we'll see how how you've been applying this, if you've got any questions. And I want to bring up a couple of thoughts based on some audiobooks I've been listening to. So we have been talking about successful persuasion, successful influence. And when we first started talking, let's remind you, what do we mean by success? And that starts with you, all right? I want you to define what it is, all right? That way, when you define what success means, you are the one that will be able to determine when you are, all right? So, and as far as success and influence and persuasion, I want you to remember another word for that is sales, all right? And you're not always selling an object. Many times you're selling yourself. You're selling your ideas. You're influencing situations, and sometimes that can be as simple as influencing somebody just to smile so that they can have a better day. All right, and that's something that I love to do. So we start with ourselves. You presuppose, all right? You expect that you're going to be successful in whatever your purpose is, whatever you're looking to influence and persuade and sell. Presuppose that you're going to be successful, and whatever you expect, you'll tend to find, all right? So one of the first things we have to do, because we're human beings, is we have to set aside that part of our mind, the critical factor that says, I can't do this, this is weird, this is too expensive, this is too hard. That's that critical factor. We set it aside, and we reframe situations, not only for ourselves, for everyone else as well, all right? And part of that reframing and that mindset is I can help anyone get what they want. All I need to do is vary what I'm doing, change up my behavior until I start getting the response that I want, right? So basically we're talking about what? Communication, right? One person communicates an idea or something with the intention of getting a response from somebody else. And when that response is the one you wanted, then you have influenced, you have sold, you have persuaded. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So,
yes. Yes.
So that's part of our mindset, all right? I don't really sell anybody anything. I help them buy what they already want. One of the things I always share with people is most people at the end of the day just want to be happy. And how do we know when we're happy? Because we're feeling it. And our body and our face shows it, all right? So when somebody already knows what they want and I'm interacting with them, my job is to help them get it, either by giving it to them or showing them how to get it if they don't know how, right? And sometimes when somebody doesn't know how, what our job is to do is to help them make the decision and then teach them or show them how to buy, how to get what they want, all right? And just starting from a place of, hey, we're in this for the right motivation. I fully believe in what I do, my product, my service, whether that's something that you're selling or whether that's you or your ideas, your thoughts. I always do what's in that other person's best interest. And as a person of influence, we know that one of the most persuasive and influential things is somebody that is confident, somebody that is competent, and somebody that is congruent, right? They walk their talk, they talk their walk. Everything about them, what they say, what they think, what they do, lines up. And when that happens, it creates something that is necessary for persuasion, which is trust. All right. Now, if it's new to you, if it's something that you haven't practiced a lot, although I'm going to submit you probably have, this persuasion and influence, treat it like a game, all right? And there's a little thing we call acting as if, all right? What if I were already the world's most powerful influencer? What if I was that kind of person that could sell ice to an Eskimo, all right? Act as if. It's about believing in things that don't already exist, don't currently exist, and that you might not find a whole lot of evidence for. It's about living a faith-based life, not an evidence-based life, right? So there's a lot of things that I believe in, I just don't have the evidence to show, right? And when you choose to live with that strong faith in things that are not seen, not proven, not guaranteed, well, you tap into the power of the possible, all right? And that is so, so, so important, all right? And so one of the things that I urge you to do is start thinking, what are you acting as if will happen in the important areas of your life right now? Because I guarantee you, whatever you're acting as if is going to happen, you're setting the stage for that to happen, whatever that is. All right? So you definitely want to be acting as if what you want the most is happening. All right? And one of the things that we discussed also is that people are more likely to be influenced by somebody, an influencer who is bold, who is assertive, who is self-confident. People find that attractive, right? We can trust those kind of people, right? People that behave as an authority are twice as effective, twice as influential as those who don't, right? Those who speak with a compelling tone of voice are also more than twice as influential as those who are soft-spoken and really aren't quite as sure, all right? All you got to do is start acting as if you're confident, even if you don't quite believe that you are yet, all right? Because you'll be 4 times more influential than someone who lacks confidence, all right? So just remember, confidence, competence, congruent, all right? So ask yourself, if I already am the best persuader, the best influencer, the best salesperson in the world, what would I think? What would I believe? What would I know? How would I feel? How would I act? What would I do? And then start doing that. Just remind yourself, ask those questions, and take some time. Take out a blank piece of paper and start writing down. If I already am the best persuader, what would that person believe? How would she act? What would she feel? What would he do? All right, and do it. All right. Now, we've talked a lot about, in order to help somebody, if everybody just wants to feel good, if people just want to be happy, well, then you've got to be feeling that first. All right. You have to create that state inside of you. And we did it on one of the calls where we talked about remembering a time where you were what you want to be. Remember a time you were confident. Remember a time you were happy. Remember a time you were intelligent. All right? Like when you decided to watch this call today. All right? And that feeling will come right back to you. All right? And so that's how your body knows how to respond to what's going on the outside. Because let me remind you a little secret about your subconscious mind. It doesn't know what's real, and it doesn't know what's imagined. All right? So that's why I'm saying, what are you acting as if? Are you acting as if bad things are going to happen in the future? That's called anxiety. All right? Are you acting as if what happened in the past is still happening now? Well, that's called depression. All right? So act as if. Your subconscious mind does not know the difference between what's going on when you imagine, or when you remember, or actually what's happening right now. And this is a key point, all right? If your customer, the person that you want to influence, at the end of the day, they just want to feel good and they want to know they've made a good decision, our job is to help them do that and to feel good about what the decisions that they make. We have to feel good so that they will pick up on that. Because remember, whatever you're thinking, whatever you are feeling, you will infect and affect that other person. All right? And you all know that to be true. You infect other people, your attitude is infectious and it's affectious as well. All right? So we talked about the ability of you to think a thought and change the way that you feel, and also change your body, which will help you change the way you're thinking. It's a two-way street. All right? And so that's why you'll hear a lot of times about when it's time to sell, when it's time to persuade, when it's time to influence, right? You know, get into the zone. Remember a time you were confident, because that's what sells. All right? So we talked about the 5-step sales process: getting attention and establishing rapport, asking questions. While you're asking questions, you find out, what is it that they want? What is their need? And then you link that need or the value that they want to you, to your product and service. And then you ask for the business, you close. All right? And this sales process happens whether you're selling a car, whether you're selling a house, whether you're trying to get your kids to do their homework or go to bed, or whether you're trying to get a date for Friday night. It all works the same. You got to get attention. You know, in the dating and seduction scene, I was reminded of, you know, how do some guys get attention? They're taught to peacock, to wear fancy, outrageous clothes and jewelry to get attention, right? Well, that's one way of doing it. Personally, I don't recommend it. All right? But we get people's attention. And then we establish rapport. What is establishing rapport? Well, remember, we are the first thing that people see, all right? You want to get somebody's attention because you want their mind focused on you, right? You've all heard that multitasking, there really is no such thing, all right? There are so many things fighting for people's attention this day, in this day and age, right? When you multitask, you're not really doing multiple things at once. You're taking your attention off of this and you're turning it and you're going over here. And then your phone rings and then you go over here. And then your email thing dings and you go over here. And then somebody knocks on your door and then you come over here. You want to get their attention so that they're focusing on you. All right? In whatever way you do that, you want their mind, their subconscious mind, focused on you. All right? And one of the things that we talked about, like it or not, people, your attention will be drawn to somebody else that is physically appealing. So whatever you got to work with, man, do your best. Like it or not, those first few moments, they're judging you. All right? And they are making decisions about you. All right? So remember, one of my mentors taught me there's a saying called play every ace, right? Don't give them any reason to make bad decisions about you, right? Take care of you, right? Because everything helps influence that other person, whether they're going to buy or not, whether they're going to change their beliefs or not, whether they're going to do business with you or not, all right? If there's something, anything about you that you know that you should deal with, do it, all right? Because they will be thinking about it until you do. I remember the first time I saw this, it was a comedian, and I don't know any other way to say it than the way he did. He walks out and he did what comedians do. It's like, hey, how's everybody doing? Yeah, I'm fat. right? And then he went into fat jokes, all right? So he brought attention to it, all right? So if there's anything about you, yeah, let's deal with it right away. Who you are now, your age, how you look, where you're at, right? Do all those things we can do. Update hairstyle, personal hygiene, be dressed neat, clean, all right? And be a joy magnet, smile, be authoritative, take charge. Let them know you know what you're doing and have that positive expectation, all right? We talked about pacing and leading. Pacing is this idea that whatever's going on around, you want to join into. You've heard of meeting people where they are, right? In order to help somebody get from where they're at to where they want to be, you've got to meet them where they're at right now. All right, whatever, and our job to influence them, to move them over here, is to give them new information so that they can make a good decision. All right, so wherever they're right now, we want to pace them. All right, and then we can lead them. So how do we do that? All right, well, remember, and why do we want to do that? We want to get people into a state where they're happy and where they're feeling that word yes, right? So there's an old sales technique, and also police do this now. You've probably seen this in the murder mystery police dramas. They sit down, your name is Joe Smith, yes, and you were born on, yes, and you live at, yes, and you robbed the liquor store the other night, yes. Right? So yes, 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 right? Establishing rapport. Once we have somebody's attention, again, our goal is to get them feeling yes, right? We want to pace where they're at right now, and we want to lead them to saying yes. Well, establishing rapport is literally just saying, hey, we're alike. I'm like you, and therefore you like me, right? We all know how we do that. People do it. We sort, sift, and separate automatically. And remember, as a person of influence, that other person's subconscious mind is doing its job all the time, especially when you first meet them. Its job is to keep you alive, to keep that person alive. So it's always scanning, looking for danger, all right? And getting rapport with somebody is to help them create that mutual trust, right? Where they can kind of relax, all right? It's a state of mind. One of my mentors, Richard Bandler, calls, it's a state of mind that begins with a feeling, all right? You want to help them to feel good about being around you, because people tend to like people who are like them. So we talked about it, yes, we as a human being are looking, all right, is that person safe? And we make guesses based upon that person's personality type, gender, politics, culture, ethnicity. As we start talking, we're listening to their values, their beliefs, what they're interested in, how they're dressed. You do it automatically. You might not be thinking about it, and you do it, all right? And they're doing it too. And so our job is to make ourselves as minimized threats, right? Make a lot about ourselves like very non-specific, all right? So that that rapport will start to naturally occur, all right? And we talked about ways that you can help that along by using your body the same way that they're using theirs. And we also talked about, and this is super, super, super important, one of the fastest ways to gain rapport is to listen to the words that they use while you're talking. And we found out that a lot of times people will explain their world and describe their world with words of that indicate visualness or auditory or feelings. And so you want to match what that person is saying to you, and what they're doing with their body, all right? And so that is a reminder, that is a really, really quick way to get into rapport with somebody. Use the words that they're using. And also another super ninja trick, if you will, is to watch how they're breathing and start to match their breathing. That's very intimate, and it's not something that most people would ever pick up on. You'll get into sync so much faster, all right? And you'll start getting rapport, all right? So how do they sit? Do they gesture? You know, again, are they breathing? Tonality of their talk. Do they are they high pitched, low pitched? People tend to like people they can understand. So we talked about that, having a nice sounding voice. We went out and we did some exercises, right? Just having fun, all right? Getting to a point where you start doing what they're doing. You know, they cross their legs a little bit later, you cross your legs, and then they shift and they put their hand up like this, and then a little bit later you shift and you put your hand. I see you out there doing all that. Now let's say that you watch, okay, you're pacing them. Now you see, like, if you shift and if they do what you do, now you're leading them. All right, they're following you. You've got rapport. Okay, so then we talked about asking questions. You've got rapport, you've established this trust. And again, as my mentor taught me, I want you to remember, regardless of whatever you think you're selling when you're influencing somebody, what you sell are feelings. All right, and you want to find out, what does your customer want to feel? How do they want to feel? All right. And that's part of what our job is, to help them feel that way. All right. So I'll give you an example. I had to deal with most of the day today government employees and motor vehicle type employees. All right. And so do those offices have a well-deserved reputation? Go like this. Right. And knowing that, what if you set yourself apart and you were kind of bright and chipper and they were kind of surly and just going about their job? My goal was to make them laugh and change their state, right? And have fun. And so we do that. And I just do that by making small talk and questions. I want to be that person that, like, oh, I remember that guy, you know, it was just like everyone was ragging on me because it took so long, but it was funny. Or does that make sense? So you want to help people feel good, right? In fact, one of the audiobooks I was recently listening to, they explained it in a way that makes a lot of sense too. There's dynamics of power, and then there's dynamics of warmth. And there are things we do that, you know, indicate power. And as a human being, our subconscious mind has learned that there is an appropriate response when another person demonstrates power. All right. And there's also responses when another person is demonstrating warmth. All right. And so that's what I was doing today, was just like, hey, I was being warm. And he also brought this fact out, and I want you to take this in the right way. Was that a command? Of course not. All right. So take this in the right way. People like to be seduced, right? Not in creepy ways, but people love to be seduced. They love to be led to feeling good, and humor is a really good way to do that. All right. So we're selling feelings, and we want to find out how they want to feel. Well, I can guess if there's somebody that's in a job where they're just kind of like going through the routine, and you can just tell what kind of mood they're in. I would guess that they probably don't want to feel that way, right? So I might not ask them, and yet I'll just make a decision to see, I'm going to see if I can help influence that person to feel better, all right? And so, again, one of the ways that we do that is we pay attention to what they're doing and what they're saying, all right? Open up your eyes, your senses, your ears, and pay attention to what's really going on. Most people are hypnotized, all right? Most people are in a trance. They have no clue what's going on. They're little robots walking around all day long. Hey, when you stop and take the red pill and you jump out of the matrix, things really open up and you can see a whole lot more than most people ever do, right? So pay attention to what's going on, all right? And the person you're dealing with will tell you and show you how they like to be communicated to, all right? And I'm looking at my notes here, and when somebody's feeling good, this will get to be a habit later, but you want to do something, anything it's called anchoring that good feeling, all right? When you anchor that good feeling, whether that's like touching yourself like this, you know, like, or, you know, using a pen. We talked about there are different ways of doing this. So at the time, why would you want to do this? Well, again, people want to feel good, and you want to help them feel good by getting what they want. And so when you're asking questions and they're describing what they want, and you can tell when somebody, oh yeah, their face lights up and they'll smile. When they're feeling good, you want to anchor that feeling in some kind of way, so that later on, just like I told you, your machine, if you want to feel confident, you just remember a time, and that brings it right back. Well, you're going to help them remember a time which they just felt just a moment ago when they saw you with your pen, or when they saw you do something like that. All right? So, for example, if you're talking to a customer and you ask her a question and you say, hey man, that's a great car, that's a great coat, I really love those boots that you're wearing. You notice that her eyes light up, and even the tone of her voice changes, and she's like, yeah, thank you. You're like, hey, was that a really good decision to buy those? And you listen to the way that she talks, right? So that later on, when you can ask them for business, then you want to bring those good feelings back. All right. So we talked about that. We talked about asking questions, and as we're doing that, remember, we want to use, in order to influence somebody, we influence them with what already influences them. All right. And during this information gathering stage, we talked about there are a couple of different scenarios, right? There's the formal, like coaching or sales scenario, where you sit down and you've got your notepad and you're asking questions and you're the consultant and it's very official, and right, they expect to have questions answered. But there's also times where, hey, you're just having a conversation, right? And it just depends on what kind of scenario that you're in. So some of the things that you're looking for is, is this person visually oriented? Is that their primary way that they like to get information? Auditory, kinesthetic? Are they the kind of person that is taking action because they're going towards something, or are they moving away from something? You know, why are they taking an action? Moving towards or away from? Do they make decisions based on what they think or what someone else thinks? Are they looking for external validation to make that decision? Just things that we're looking for. We also, and this happens a lot, especially when I do one-on-one coaching. In fact, some of you may not know, but the reason that I got into persuasion and influence in the first place is through becoming a clinical hypnotherapist. And so when you work with somebody who comes and they have this challenge in their life, well, they have an identity, a belief about who they are and what they can and what they can't do. And it's interesting to find out what those beliefs are, all right? Because if somebody has a belief and that shows up in their values, who they think they are, what they can and can't do, the environment that they're surrounded in, what their purpose in life is. So there's times where it takes a lot of heavy-duty persuasion to get somebody out of that pattern that they've been in for years and years, and to help them change those beliefs, all right? Change that environment based upon their purpose. So asking those questions will, again, depend on where that person's at, where they want to go, who they think they are. And you can get a lot of this just by, again, listening to how people talk. All right. So in a structured set type of format, if you're doing a coaching or a consultation, you want to remember this. We want to set the stage. It's called pre-framing. Now, people will find what they expect to find, so tell them what to expect. I can remember the first time I was coaching at a 2-day seminar of one of my mentors. There was probably a couple people, 100 people in the room, and I was told to go out and introduce the person, the speaker coming up. And I was specifically told to pre-frame the audience that they were going to find that this day was going to go by quickly, that this was going to be one of the most impactful seminars you've ever attended, and you're going to want more, right? And so why would you want to tell somebody you're going to want more? Because you've got more to offer. I've got another seminar coming up, all right? So guess what? At the end of the day, it's like, man, time has flown by. Yeah, it really has. And this has been one of the best days of your life. Yeah, and you want more. Yeah. It's like, wow, I told you so. Very cool. So you want to set the stage, right? Tell them what to expect. And so, for example, if you know you're going to be asking a lot of questions, I love this frame. It's like, so, hey, before we start, may I ask you a few questions? Well, what am I doing with my head? and their brain is going, yeah, sure. One of the things that's very important to me about providing you, again, whatever they're buying, whatever you're selling, fill in that blank, is we want to provide you with the highest level of service and the best results possible. Is that important to you as well? Well, that's the kind of question that you're pretty much expecting a yes, all right? It's like if you ask somebody, hey, do you want to feel good? It's like, nah, I don't want any of that crap. Give me I want to feel bad, right? So you're asking this question. Why? Because you want them to be saying yes. So, hey, is it important to you to get the best results possible? Because that's important to me. Yeah, great. Hey, and in order to enable me to do that, to give you the high level of service and those results, that's important to both of us. So I'm saying both of us, now we're on the same side. We're getting rapport and trust, because they're thinking, oh, it's important to him that I get what I want. Oh, good, I like that, all right? I'm going to need to ask you some questions. And from time to time, you might think to yourself, wow, that's a strange question. Or you might think, no one's ever asked me that before. Or, man, he's sure asking a lot of questions. I just want you to know before we start that that's how I'm able to give that high level of service and get you those results that we both desire. Is that okay with you? Sure. Okay, excellent. Now listen, again, my job today is to understand you, to help you use your best judgment to make the best decision, make the right decision, all right? So what's the right decision? Well, let's say if I'm selling me as a consultant, and if I'm like, I want to help you make the right decision. And earlier, when I was helping them feel good, and I'm doing this, and I'm like, make the right decision. Well, who am I pointing to? I'm pointing to me. I'm the right decision. Or if the car they're buying is right over there, or if your product is, make the right decision, all right? So there's a lot of different layers to this. So for example, in that case, and if I were coaching you one-on-one, or we were sitting down doing consultation, I would probably want to find out, well, why are you here? What are you buying today? What are you interested in? Then I'll start watching, and I'm going to listen, right? Because they're going to give me information. And this is where I said most people that are asleep, they're not paying attention because they're thinking about what they're going to say. You want to listen and watch what that other person's doing, all right? Because you're trying to figure out, are they visual, are they auditory? Are they moving away from something? Are they moving towards something, right? Then you ask them, you know, so why do you want this? What are you looking to accomplish? What is the result that you want, all right? Because later, you're going to feed back their words to them, right? It's called parrot phrasing, not paraphrasing, parrot phrasing. Because the words they use mean more to them than the words you're going to use to describe it. So you want to know what they want. And you got to listen. Is it a need or is it a want? When they tell you, get in the habit of asking, great, what's important about that? And then they'll tell you, and then you ask it again, why is having that important? And what will that do for you? Okay, you're starting to find out what's important to them and listen to the words. Now, this is super, super important. Once they tell you what they want, why they want it, why that's important, ask them, how will you know when you have the result that you want? How will you know that you've been successful? This is critical. So tell them, close your eyes, and you could even do it this way. This is what I would do. Close your eyes. Imagine it's 3 months from now, and we've worked together, and you've been able to get what you want, and you're enjoying your success. What do you see? Again, remember, see, hear, feel. What do you see? What do you hear? Right? What are you feeling like? And what is that feeling that you want? Oh, great. Write it down. Right? And what are you saying to yourself? Write that down. Now, at this point, again, remember, the imagination doesn't know whether it's imagination or it's really happening in life. They're in their imagination out in the future. You've already done business, right? You've told them, hey, it's 90 days from now. You and I have already completed our transaction, our business. You're enjoying the benefits of whatever it is. And what are you seeing? What are you hearing? What do you feel? How do you know that this has been successful? And at that point, while they're feeling it, you can have them open your eyes, and it's like, so that's what you want. You want to see this, feel this, hear this. Great. And have you ever? Was there another time when you've seen that, heard that, felt that, when you've said those things to yourself? You start amping up that feeling in them, and that's when you start anchoring that feeling. All right. We talked about asking people, so tell me about the best decision that you ever made to do this. How did you make up your mind? What was important about that? So you can start finding out how people make decisions. All right. We talked about also, there are times where that would feel more like an interrogation, and they would expect that in a business type situation. So maybe it's we use the dating scenario, or a more casual type business scenario. You still want to pre-frame, however you want to soften your questions. And that's why a lot of times people will say things like, hey, I'm curious. Or, hey, let me ask you this. Or, would you mind sharing? It's a softener. So let's say that two people meet, and maybe they'd like to date, and one person says to the other, it's like, hey, I'm curious, what's the best date you've ever been on? And the other person starts to tell them, right? And then you can ask, well, what made it so great? What happened? And you're looking for, what were you seeing? What were you doing? What were you saying to yourself? How'd you feel? What'd that do for you? Right? And now you just know the recipe to have a great date with that person. That's right. Or you probably heard this one too, where you're going out on a date, and maybe you're going to go out to eat, and they ask, where are we going? And you're like, oh, it's a surprise. Can you guess? So they tell you, and you're like, yes, how did you know? Because they're going to tell you a place that they like to go to, typically. So anyway, you can have fun with this, right? So remember this. We talked about what's important about X, all right? So let's drive this home. When you're talking and you're asking questions, you're gathering information, you want to find out, and the pattern is what's important about X, all right? So let's say that you're a coach and you're talking to a potential client. And so you might say something like, so I'm curious, when you imagine yourself investing in coaching, what's important for you in this coach? Now, watch exactly and listen to what I said. So the softener is, I'm curious. And I'm like, when you imagine yourself investing in coaching. So their subconscious mind, what's it doing right now? It's imagining investing in coaching, right? What's important for you in this coach? So there's some ambiguities there. And if I just read it all off, it just sounds, so when you imagine yourself investing in coaching, what's important for you in this coach? All right. So if you just listen to it like most people do, it just sounds like a question somebody's asking. I'm actually telling the subconscious mind, imagine investing in coaching. And what's important about this coach? What coach am I talking about? Me. All right. Or if your product is sitting there, you would point this product. All right. Or let me ask you this. When you think of someone you want to go out with and have fun with, right? Think of someone you want to go out and have fun with. What's important for you in this person? That's a little pattern. And some of you might be thinking, well, that's manipulative. I guarantee if you learn those patterns like that and you practice it and it just comes out, most people are going to just hear it and it's going to sound like conversation. So take whatever they say, X, and you follow up with, just so I understand, what's important about X, right? Whatever they say, then you follow that up with, great, just so that we're on the same page, ultimately, what will having X do for you, right? These are so, so important. And use the word, they'll give you the words, they'll tell you what influences them, all right? So you've got the feedback, all right? So at that point, you want to link that product or that need or that value, their needs and their values and that feeling, all right? You're going to feed back what they just told you. So while you were talking, they probably told you, well, I need this. They may have said, I want this. It would be nice to have this. That was their order, right? Don't tell them something, well, it'd be nice to have this if they told you, I need this, all right? So they gave you the order. So you tell them, all right, so just so that we're on the same page, you told me that we're here today because, and typically it's because you're moving towards this or you're moving away from that, whatever they told you. And when you get that, the reason you want that is because this, you need this, and it would also be, you want to have this if that's possible, and it'd be nice to have this, yeah? Excellent. So let me tell you, and then you show them and tell them how your product and service can make that happen. All right, that's linking what they want, what they told you, in the way they told you, to what you have to offer. And at that point, then you said, and then that's when you can put them out into the future again and just say, so, hey, so, when we've done this, imagine it's 30 days, 90 days, whatever it is, you're now enjoying whatever it is they told you they want, and they told you how they knew they'd be successful, you're seeing this, you're saying these things to yourself, you're hearing this, you're doing this, and you're feeling the feeling that they told you, you know, how is that? Great. Now they're feeling really good, right? At that point, you have them open their eyes and you're feeding back even more. That's when you fire off that anchor, whether it's, you know, this, or it's like, hey, you know, it's like you move toward the close, which is the last part of the 5 questions. And this is also known as helping them get what they want. So in the dating, you know, scenario, it's like, great, I'll pick you up at 7 on Friday. Wear something warm. Great. All right, so hey, shall we get to where we're going? Let's get the paperwork started. And I like this pattern as well, I learned. Looks like we've covered just about everything. Let's go ahead and get the paperwork started so that you can get what you want. Right? There was a time where we were purchasing a property. I'm not going to go into the whole story. I utilized this one technique. These words, looks like we've covered just about everything. And every time I would get them telling me about what they were going to get and how they were going to feel, I would have my pen in my hand and I would be doing this. And in this particular case that I'm thinking about, it's made my family several millions of dollars in good cash flow every month, simply by asking the question, you know, what are we here for? What will, and in this case, selling this house do for you? And in that case, he wasn't trying to sell a house. It was just something he had to do in order to get his mom back to the little town where she grew up so that she could spend the rest of her days. And he was going to go with her. And it happened to be a little town called La Luz. So I stopped talking about buying a property and I started talking about getting mom back to La Luz. And after I found out what was important to him, then I explained why and how I could make that happen. And then I asked him, so what are you going to be doing down there? It's going to feel great. You're not going to be working anymore. Da, 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 da. He's now feeling what it's going to be like after this deal has been done. And that's when I said, all right, great. So it looks like we've covered just about everything. Let's go ahead and get the paperwork started so you can get mom back to La Luz. Sound good? And he's like, yeah, and he grabs the pen. So when they grab the pen, you're like, yeah, this is a done deal. Woo! Right? So let's see where are we at here. All right. We're going to go just a little bit longer because we started a little bit late. I know we've been going about 45 minutes or so. So let's just wrap this up. I want to remind you all that you are always thinking. You are always hypnotizing yourself. You do it all the time. So my prayer for you is that you would do it on purpose, right? Most people walk around, they're hypnotized, and they hypnotize themselves, and they do it by accident. They allow it to happen, all right? So I want you to think about what's good, what's right, what's helpful, what's happy, right? Be the kind of person that is interested in learning and becoming better. For example, if I were helping somebody that really wants to be a better learner, I'm like, all right, how would you hypnotize yourself? Well, I'd probably say things like, I love to learn. I enjoy learning. It's easy for me to master new material. I easily remember new material. I'm intelligent. I'm creative. I'm confident. And I quickly put into practice what I learn. And the more I learn, the more I earn. And I influence myself. And I influence others to make this a better life and a better planet and a better world for all of us. I'm a force for good. I influence myself and others to make this a better life. All right? So I encourage you, once again, to start in an area that you're really interested in, right? How do you use this, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in your business life? Just pick one. take one thing at a time, right? I had a client, and very, very successful. One of the things that he came to me for was, he was saying, well, when I get into a group of people, I feel like I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm like, are you crazy? I mean, you know more about what you know than pretty much anybody on the planet. And so we just started hanging out, and he spent a couple of days with me, and we did coaching, and he went with me while I was doing my stuff, and happened to have to go to the bank, for example, and the teller makes a comment, and I just fed it back to him. I'm like, he's like, so you're making a deposit? I'm like, no, I'm here. That's yours. Keep it. Go to Vegas. Have fun. And right away, the teller's like, whoa. And he started playing back and forth, right? So people like to have fun. And so that became my client's homework. He would just start, you know, even though he would have to force himself to do it, pretty soon he got the hang of it, right? Just so that was his one thing, and just do it over and over and over again, right? So make the time, practice it, make it fun, have fun. Go out and see, you know, ask for things. You never know. You'll probably get it because you expect to. I just had a really great example of it yesterday. You know, we had somebody that we're doing business with come in, and we're investing quite a bit with them. And as they were ready to leave, my wife invited them to support a cause that's near and dear to our heart, right? And so there was a lot of persuasion going on there, right? And we made it fun, combined it with what we were already doing and what we already know. And I recommend that you all do the same thing as well. So I really hope that this has been, and I know that this has been very powerful. It has the potential to help change your life and the lives of those that you care about. It's up to you, right? Like you say, I can provide you with knowledge and information. I can't make you use it. I can influence you to. I can help persuade you to want to. At the end of the day, though, you've got to be the person to make those decisions yourself. So if there's any questions, we'll break now and see if you've got some questions, or if you need some guidance on how to apply this. Or if you've got any questions that you might not want to bring up on here, you can always go to callwithdougo.com. That's callwithdougo.com. Tell me that you can make an appointment. Tell me you were on this call and you got a question about it, and be happy to answer that for you. So if there are no further questions or anything, that'll wrap up for tonight.
Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Doug.
Awesome stuff.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Have a good
Doug.
Thank you.
Bye, Doug.
God
Bye.
bless. Bye. Shelly.
Okay, well, let's move right on in. Can you hear me? Let's move right on into our Thursday call, the onboarding call. There are a few guests on here, which is awesome to see. I'm not sure who KJU31 is. And Ruth Smith, are you there? I just see your door or your wall. And Miss Gina Buck, how are you? You're muted. Here, we can unmute you.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good.
So we've started doing this session, and we're kind of starting it. We started it actually yesterday, but we're doing there's several people that are on the call with us that actually make passive income. And so what we're doing is I'm actually asked 3 people to come on this evening to kind of spend about 10-15 minutes in touching what they do, because you're on the Monday calls with Forbes, aren't you? Perfect. This kind of goes right in with that. But it is there's three people on here that I asked to speak out. One is Jose, the other one is Justin, and the third one is Shelly. They're going to spend about 15 minutes kind of explaining to you guys what they do, not go into real depth, but what they do to create their passive income, because they're making money when most of us are sleeping, actually when they're sleeping as well. So I am going to bring on Jose. Jose has been with Forbes, I think, now for about 6 months, and has fallen in love with her and her message, and is doing phenomenal. I think I don't even know how many different things he does. I'll let him explain that if that's a part of what he's explaining tonight. But Jose, please take it away. It's all yours.
Hold on, I'm trying to get full. I didn't have a chance. I've been running around all day, so I'm gonna try to do that so I can just show you guys, kind of go in depth. I think I would like to give you guys some actionable steps, some stuff that you guys could jump right into. Where's the option to share my screen? Why am I not seeing that?
It should be right at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that part of the menu on my screen. I think I didn't sign in or something on my.
Because I have it set up so that everyone can share their screen. If you hover at the bottom, it should be one of your options, share screen.
Give me 1 second. I think this thing just kicked me out. I'm sorry. Give me a moment.
Okay, sure. And Miss Ruth, it's nice to see you this evening. Forbes is missing in action tonight. She's actually at a red carpet event in Fort Lauderdale. And she always brags. Interrupt me when you're ready, Jose.
Okay.
Are you ready to go?
No, give me 1 second.
Oh, okay. She always brags about her daughter, and for good reason, that she's 15 years old, and I think nothing short of a genius when it comes to online marketing. And I don't remember the name of the event that they're at this evening, but the only reason why McKenna, her daughter, went with her is because she started firing off questions that no one had ever asked this company before. And they said, wait a minute, we would love to have you attend. So they invited her as well. So both Forbes and McKenna are, I just realized my camera's off. Both Forbes and McKenna are at this event. So unfortunately, they're not, unfortunately or fortunately, they're not able to be here tonight. But so we've got these three people that will be stepping in and doing. Did Jose leave us? He did, didn't he? Oh, there he is. Did you get it figured out?
I jumped out and came back in, supposedly signed in. What the heck's up with this thing?
Can you do it without sharing your screen?
I think this would visually would help everybody
Okay.
just take action.
Okay. Let's jump over to Shelly. Shelly, would you be able to do it now? Yeah? Let's do that and then let you figure it out, Jose, rather than...
Yeah, I'll be jumping in and out. Go ahead, Shelly. Sorry about that.
Perfect.
Oh,
no,
no, that's okay. That's what teams are for. Hi, everybody. My name is Shelly, and typically I'm here with my partner in crime and husband, Craig, but he's actually putting our daughter down right now, so it's going to be flying solo for a little bit. But if a man shows up who's extremely good looking, that's my husband, and he will be joining us. So I am here to have the honor, first of all, thank everybody who is a guest on this call today. I'm here today to talk about passive income and specifically the avenue that my husband and I engage in to create passive income is in real estate. And why I wanted to take just, 10, 15 minutes to kind of walk you through very high level, a little bit of our history, how we got into it, and kind of where we are today with just a little bit of intention and a lot of knowledge and in leveraging what we kind of already know and the skill sets that we have. So I'm excited to share this with you guys. And I will also try to share my screen and see if that works. Okay. All right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, perfect. So here we are. We are creating time wealth and financial wealth, which is something Craig, my husband, and I are super passionate about, and that's with Craig and Shelley. And this is just a few pictures of some of the properties that we have. Before I get started, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about passive income. I had seen this chart online a few days ago, and I thought it was just so powerful that I want to really share it with the whole world. And what this chart says is that if your monthly residual income, right, passive income, is $100, $200, $300, what that really translates to is having $24,000 in the bank, earning 5% interest and just living off of that interest, right? So here it is, I circle this, which is if you did something where you're able to create passive income worth $200 a month, just $200 a month, that would mean you would have $48,000 in the bank earning a 5% interest. I circle this because this is roughly the national average household income level, right? And people break their backs trying to make $48,000 a year. But the fact that you may be able to generate $200 in passive income if you have the right network, the right coaching, the right knowledge, is something I think very powerful and something that most people don't think about when they talk about what passive or residual income is. So I want to show this to everybody to kind of set your mind on how powerful some of these things that we'll be talking about tonight can be in transforming your lives. So how we got started in real estate, my husband and I, we were one of those kids, I'll call us kids back in the days. We had just graduated college and we were bright-eyed, bushy-tailed. We were like, we're gonna follow the rules and do everything society tells us to do and our parents told us to do and our friends told us to do and our professors told us to do. And that is do well in school, get a good job, climb the corporate ladder. Don't waste time, don't waste money in your rent because you wanna build equity. Always wear clean underwear. I don't know if your mother ever told you this, but my mother did. And maximize your 401k. And so we did all those things, right? And we had just gotten out of school and we were so obsessed with the idea of not wasting our money in rent that we went and bought a condo. Well, 4 years later, it led us to a $50,000 loss. Because as most of us know, 2009 happened, the market crashed, we all kind of went in with it. And it made us realize that maybe putting money in a primary home is not really the best way to invest your money. However, we weren't too deterred with real estate investing for homes and properties that we didn't live in, right? So a few years later, in 2011, we kind of lucked into our first property. I had read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I don't know how many of you have read that book, but I highly recommend it. It's a great mindset shift book, and it had a mindset shift for me. And the biggest takeaway I had was, hey, that passive income thing sounds kind of cool. I kind of want to try that. And so the market had crashed, and there was a large one-bedroom condo on the market, and we were able to buy it cash for $34,000. The sellers had actually brought $52,000 to close to get rid of the condo because they had owed, I'm guessing, $100,000 on it, right? And we were able to take advantage of that situation. And I had actually started advertising the apartment before we even closed. And so we were able to screen renters systematically and get them moved in 2 days into us owning that property. So we barely had any vacancy, And if you want to look at some of the numbers associated with that first investment we made, the cash investment was $35,000. At the time, I had charged $860 a month for rent. So annualized, that was $10,321. I had about $4,000 of expenses each year, and these were the items associated with the expenses. The total profit income that I was making every year off of that property was $5,716. So the monthly cash flow, that passive income we talked about, $476 a month, right? If you looked at it from a return on investment standpoint, you take the annual profit divided by the initial investment of $35,000, and that was 16% return on my investment. Pretty good considering the 5-year CD at the time, the average rate was 1.6%. So again, if we go back to this chart, creating $400 and somewhat a month, it was like I just created $85,000 and stuck in the bank and was able to start living off of a 5% interest on that principle, right? That's how powerful passive income can be. So just to give you guys some idea, when you invest in real estate, generally the return on investment doesn't stay the same. Over time, hopefully, your return actually improves because you try to keep your expenses pretty steady. But as we mostly know, I'm sure everybody, depending on where you live in the country, rent continues to grow each year. And so as a landlord, you want to be on that side of the equation. It is very advantageous because you're able to improve your cash flow position. So giving you guys a sneak peek of how this property has done over time from 2011 to 2018, as you can see here, we're looking at about $7,600 a year that I am making as passive income, growing from the $5,700. So that's roughly 22% return on investment today on the original $35,000 investment. I've definitely made my money back and more. And that is something that we've been able to do pretty systematically. You can see right here on maintenance, that line item are those calls that everybody fear. What if somebody calls me for a toilet leak? Or what if, somebody doesn't know how to change the light bulb and they call me in the middle of the night? As you can tell, I didn't really have many of those calls because if I did, they would all result into expenses. And so on a property like this, I really never had many of those calls. And a primary reason for that is because we are very systematic with how we screen our tenants. It's a process that we kind of established and proven in the market, and it works very well and helps us be more profitable and have to spend less time landlording. I took the return on investment I made on this property, which is this blue line, and I charted it against this historical 5-year CD interest rate from 2011 to 2018. And what you could see here in the red is that, this is a big gap, right? And as many of you may know Forbes, there are a lot of Forbesisms that she throws around, and one that I love is her always telling us life happening to you versus life happening for you. And I look at these lines and I say, hey, you putting your money in a CD, hoping that, because it's risk-free, this is life happening to you. But if you just got the right education, got the right mentoring, surrounded yourself with the network of people that know how to do these things, life can be happening for you, and you could be doing a lot more with the hard-earned money that you have today. And so, one of the big questions that I always tell people is, where do you want to be, when it comes to these two lines? The years between 2011 and 2015, we weren't very intentional. We had bought 2 other properties, but it was kind of we were still trying to climb the corporate ladder, and, you know, we still think that's how you're gonna live our golden lives our golden ages when we're 60 and retired. But then in late 2016, Craig, his job began a reorganization. And so he suddenly was not sure if he would have a job in 2017. My company laid off 85% of our workforce at my location. 85%. And then I was pregnant with my second child at the time as well. So as you can tell, during that time, there was a lot of uncertainty in our household. And what people typically do is they kind of, you know, you hoard your safety net, and you hide under the pillow. But we decided that we're going to take charge, because what we ended up doing was starting to really question what job security meant, right? Everybody says, oh, you have a good job and pays you well. You know, you do well in your job and you have job security. But that's not true at all. If the company decides they're going to have a workforce reduction tomorrow, which is what happened to both of us, no matter how good you're doing in that company, you don't have control. They'll tap you on the shoulder and you're out, right? And so it was kind of like this picture right here. You're on a hamster wheel and you're just running and running and running. And some of you run faster than others, so you get more money, and that's great. But one day may come when that hamster wheel either breaks, or somebody pushes you over, or God forbid you get too tired or too sick to run, and that money stops coming and you're out of control. And then what? And then what? Right? And this is what we faced at the time. And we're like, okay, we're going to take control back. Forget what society has told us about corporate life and all that jazz, and we're going to take control. And so we did. We became very intentional with our real estate. And so in 2007, that was the year when we really started to be much more deliberate with investing in real estate. And we said, but what if we can't find tenants? What if we lose some money? What if the market turns? I mean, we had some properties and we were still a little reluctant, right? So even though we kind of dipped our toes into the industry, we had, like most other people, fears because of the unknown. And what we realized was, okay, first of all, we need to take a breather. We have experience, and a lot of these questions, we definitely have the experience to figure that out. We just need the right knowledge, and we need to develop systems, and we need to develop processes that can help address all of these questions. And once we do that, then we should be good to go. And so that's exactly what we did. We had ended up investing a tremendous amount of money in knowledge, either in books and also in training. And in the training was specific to not only real estate, but business training. That's why I'm a coaching client for Forbes. It's been tremendously valuable for how we've been able to continue to improve our real estate business. But on top of that, we developed and leveraged what our expertise from a corporate job was. And so that's what we did. You know, what can we do within the skill sets that we've learned within our corporate jobs to negate some of these problems that we thought might have been an issue? And to be honest with you, they're not. Right? They're only an issue because we didn't know the answer at the time. But today I could sit here and I can tell you we've created a tremendous amount of passive income because we took the effort and we figured out the answers. So to just give you some background, because most of you don't know who we are, from a corporate standpoint, I essentially have expertise in finance. So I develop joint ventures and deal structures, and I work with foreign governments around the world to create economic benefit back to their countries. All that really means is I have background in assessing economics and whether, you know, the economy is going to go up or down, and also creative financing so that if I don't have enough money to buy a investment outright, there are other ways that I can restructure the deal so that it would still be attractive to the seller for me as a buyer to get into that deal. And so taking those skill sets, we were able to apply that into real estate so that we can grow our business. Team building, and also just our passion for continuous learning. The team building aspect of our business also was tremendously important because you're never going to be able to do everything yourself. And so leveraging our skill sets to delegate, to trust, to screen the right people allowed us to have a team of contractors, of, just people, brokers, bankers, agents in the industry that can be our eyes and ears and brains while we move forward with deals, and they could help us watch our properties and our assets and keep them running while we continue to grow. And so using the skill sets that we developed in that area really helped us. And so we were able to put them all down, develop systems, checklists, marketing scripts, which is another advantage that we have, is that most of our properties, and we also have some Airbnbs, there's rarely any vacancy. And the reason is because we have developed quite a few different scripts for advertisement of 2-bedroom apartments and 3-bedroom apartments and vacation rentals, and how, you want to make sure you want to come here and book our place because it's going to give you the most memorable vacation ever, and you're going to wake up with the birds singing and whatever, right? So we have all that established now. And so these original objections that we really had, again, they were just a function of us not knowing the answer because we hadn't tried, right? The reality is we hadn't really tried. So when we decided to be intentional, we put forth our effort and we developed a system, and everything just kind of started going. So what does that mean? Today, that means we have several Airbnbs and multi-family rentals that generate enough income to cover our mortgage, cars, and more, right? So you can see right here, there's nothing better than this. These are emails from Airbnb that comes to me. So I'll go to bed, I'll wake up, I'll get an email from Airbnb, and they're like, somebody just instant book, you'll earn $3,221. And I'm like, yay, I didn't have that today, right? And then, another day, I'm on an airplane somewhere, I put my phone on airplane mode, and then I get off the plane, I turn it back on, and it's like, somebody instant book here. They'll be here, for the 6 nights, and you'll earn $2,173. And I'm like, right? I have all the time because we applied our knowledge, we applied our system, and we set up ourselves so that we can have this passive income where, yesterday you didn't have this money, today you do. And I don't do much for it at all, right? I'm not doing the cleaning when people are checking in, checking out, somebody else is, right? I'm not going out and finding these clients. Airbnb is doing that for me. So there is just so much out there today that can help you if you just knew how. And so we have financial wealth. We have time wealth because of the systems and processes. It allows us to do what we need to do with these properties systematically and without needing a lot of time, right? So that means I get to spend, I have 2 beautiful children. One is 5, one is 1.5, and I get to spend more time with them. And I still work my corporate job. I enjoy it. And, but if I wanted to take a day off because it's Wednesday and it was sunny and it was summer and my kids wanted to go to the beach, I'm going to do that. Because if they fire me, okay. Okay. And the feeling, the freedom you get to feel because you set yourself up with that passive income is incredible. And all of you can do the same. And then lastly, we're able to pay it forward because we're able to share our success through private lending, which is what we've been doing now with a lot of our friends who have 401k money that's not doing well at all with the stock market. They're able to roll it into a self-directed IRA, and we're able to invest for them that way, and also through real estate consulting classes, right? And like I said, we are just so passionate about this because, and really, anybody can do this if you had the will and you had the work ethic. And so I just wanted to leave all of you guys with this. This is just some family pictures, right? Because this is what we are striving after. What you really want is the freedom to do what you want, whenever you want, with whomever you want. And if you work for a corporation or if you're a solopreneur, you may not be able to do that. But if you create a life with passive income, and not just streams through real estate, but some of the others that Justin and Jose are going to talk about, then that's it. You have the freedom, right? And last but not least, can you afford not to have it? So that's it for me.
Perfect. Thank you, Shelley. That was awesome.
Great, Phil.
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. So if any of you have any questions, please hold on to them, write them down, because we are trying to get through. We have 2 more to do. I think Jose is ready to go. So write them down, and we'll do our best to answer any or all of them at the end. Or I wrote down a link in the chat, or if you're all familiar, if you put your email address in the link, or in the chat box. But there is a link there that I put where you guys can get more in-depth learning and training on exactly what these guys are doing to create their passive income. And with that, Jose, I'm going to turn it back over to you. I think you got it fixed.
Why is it acting funny now?
Uh-oh.
When I logged in to see that, it was great. I seen all the options. I seen everything. What happened? What changed? When I went full screen.
Try going back the way you were.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Oh, there's Justin. Are you available?
Hey, my client's gonna leave in 2 minutes, so give me 2 minutes.
Okay. I'll introduce you while you're. Justin is. Here he is.
Yeah.
Are you good? Are you good to go, Jose?
I think so. Let's see.
Okay, then we'll let you take it away.
Okay, you guys see a bunch?
Yes.
All right. See if I get rid of all this stuff. Okay, the thing that I want to share with you guys today is we're all kind of doing a little bit of affiliate marketing. We follow Forbes. She talks a lot about ClickFunnels, about different products. Maybe you get a few different products that you have from other people. And I think this could help you guys a lot. It's a simple tool. It's called ManyChat. And it allows you to automate a lot of the stuff that you do. So an example would be I'm here on my Facebook page. And if I'm having a casual conversation with you guys and I start talking about Russell Brunson or ClickFunnels or any of the affiliate products that I want to share, I could casually just say, well, he offers a free book called .com Secrets. That's one of his first editions. Just go over to my page, like it, and send me a message like I'm going to do here saying .com. And when they do that, this thing would automatically, it acts like it's typing, so they think somebody's there. And then it sends them a link that is going to give them the free book for .com Secrets. But that is actually an affiliate link linked to my account. So when they click on it and go through there, then I get commission off the product that I'm recommending. And I could have a casual conversation. I could say, hey, how about you get expert secrets. And oops, if I could just spell it right. And I could throw in a few words, different books, different products, and I don't have to go scrambling, looking for the link, trying to set something up. Just have them message it to me, and it'll automatically throw them any one of the links back like that. So that allows everybody to do that. You could set up an easy account. You could do this for free. If you go into ManyChat, If you want to do some more of the bigger audiences and stuff, like this will keep track of all the people that follow you, that message you. You could open up personal messages with them, live chats. I left this here on Growth Tools. This is one of the more advanced ones that you guys, if I had a lot more time, I could go into. But you could have little messages that pop up when people subscribe to one of your channels, one of your things. And here, this would allow you to choose what type it is. I recommend doing a bar, so it just pops in at the top, just like it is right here. Because if you do something that takes over the whole screen, then you actually get penalized by Facebook. They do, they don't like people distracting everybody. They want the best experience for everybody. So it will actually, they penalize you by charging you more for ads or stuff like that. But just to get an example, I created, I started working with auto dealers here. And I thought, oh, great, I'll go do a bunch of marketing sales for the auto dealers. And I started walking into all the dealers here, and the number one objection I got was, I have too much business. I live over here in the oil field, and so when they're booming, they actually get a lot of business. And one of their biggest complaints was, we actually sell a lot, we need more salespeople. So I was like, that's a great idea. How many of us wouldn't want a salesperson working for us 24 hours a day? So I was like, oh, let's build a salesperson into a chatbot. So when I ask you, hey, do you want to learn more about a product or a service or whatever it is, why not show them something? So here I built the car salesman into a chatbot. So if I go over here, let me see if I can preview this here. Come on. I will get a little automated system. Why is this not? Of course, when you want to show it off. And it will just ask people questions. Hey, are you looking for a new car, a used car, or whatever it is? And they'll go selecting the answer there. Based off of what they say, it says, perfect. Let me ask you a few questions before. It goes thinking, you set time delays, you set different things in it. You'll ask them for their budget. And then it tags them right here into different groups. So if someone leaves the chat, it kind of gives me a report of where they're at, so I could pick up on a conversation with them automatically. But it's offering them what I'm trying to pinpoint, what type of car they're looking for or anything, and then I will give them a special offer. Once I kind of get something, I'll tell them, hey, wouldn't you like, let me see if I could find where I did. Sorry, I'm clicking through all these. I haven't used this one in a little bit. It helps you. I would give them a promotion offer that's like, if you download this coupon, you get $400 towards your down payment. So everybody loves that idea. The dealer doesn't have to pay out much, so they love it. And when they click on this, they'll go through the chat bot, and it will send all this information. I have an automated system set up here that I could go into in depth after. And it will send it to the dealer and tell them, hey, this person just downloaded this coupon. Why don't you give them a call? But I wanted to have the user actually call for the product instead. So I put another incentive of another $100 on a message here that this does it all for you. It's a one-time setup of any type of your business that you get. And then it tells them, well, if you call within the next 24 hours to the dealer, they already kind of looked at the inventory, playing with the messages because it's showing them the inventory. It will tell them, if you call within the next 24 hours, we'll give you an extra $100. So now I had a bunch of people calling the dealer saying, hey, I just downloaded a coupon and it says I get an extra $100. So I get $500 towards this car that I like because they already seen the car. So I wanted to outperform a salesperson with this bot. We had some success with it. I'm doing improvements. I have a different account that I have set up that has all the stuff. Let me not try to go into that because it will probably I'll get caught up with all this stuff. But I wanted to make this super easy how you could manage different audiences, set up automation with here just based off of keywords. Here are all the different books that that are just from what Forbes was talking about, the .com secrets, expert secrets. All these are super simple to set up with just a little keyword. So you just type in a new rule here, and you can get it set up, type what you want it to be, and when people message that, you could have it display any of your links or automated stuff. So I don't know if this kind of stuff, if this kind of things will help you. Here you can tell it what you want them to do, subscribe them to a sequence, to a different bots, different things that show them stuff. But depending on what type of product you have, you could have this implemented in your website, in your Facebook, and everything. You could they have other smart things you could plug into it, so it could answer questions. And the nice thing is, whenever it stumbles upon something, it says, "I'm sorry, I don't know that," and it could actually alert you on your messenger, and then you could take over the conversation and answer the person's question as a customer service. You could do. There's just endless different types of services you could have this automate for you, and it just is like having an extra person working for you at a time. But I'm sorry I kind of went kind of quick on this. I know we're all kind of crunched for time here, but I could go into in-depth different flows, different things. There's all kinds of different stuff you could do on how to set up things here. Is there any questions that I could help you guys with, or something that you guys may want to know on this?
Let's hold those until the end, but that was pretty amazing, Jose. I didn't know anything about ManyChat at all. I've never heard of it, but I do know that there's several people on here that could probably utilize something like that.
Yeah, it's nice too. Once you build them, you could share bots, you could do all kinds of stuff. You could have different people build you special bots. It'll keep track of all the stuff for you. You could do a live broadcast if you want to send your whole audience. Once you start getting like a hot or warm audience, there's a whole bunch of different things of different audiences. But you'll be able to just set to a group of people one message, and it'll show you right here how many opened, how many impressions, clicked, everything. So it's very well for analytics and also for managing stuff for you when you're away.
I'm going to put the Wednesday night link in again, because I know that that's where Forbes is going to start having, if you guys want to do, for those that are doing the in-depth training, it's going to be starting to happen on Wednesday nights. There are different ideas and methodologies that you can use to create that passive income that you can start making. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I would love to wake up and have an email that told me I just made $2,300 while I was sleeping, or while I was flying from across country. That'd be well worth it. All of a sudden, I just got paid for flying instead of paying for my flight. So thank you, Jose. That was awesome. And I'm going to run right over and go see Mr. Justin. I think Justin is, his client has left. Justin is an expert in the Amazon land. And I wish I knew more about it. I don't, and that's why he's here. But he is very successful at selling different products on Amazon. And I'm going to let him do more explaining. And so thank you, Justin, and the floor is yours.
Hi, everybody. How are you doing tonight? I don't have any spreadsheets and stuff like that, like Shelly and Jose, who are making me look terrible tonight. But what I will do is I will explain a slight bit about Amazon. Basically, you sign up for an account. There's two different ways you can sign up. You could do it for individual products, which is not recommended, and you can get a professional account that costs you like $40 a month. When you sign up, you should sign up as a business, okay? And then from there, there's different ways to find out how much a product is selling, whether you can sell it or not, because they will only let you sell certain things. Especially when you're starting out, there's very limited things that you can sell on Amazon. They're also kind of like the police. They will shut you down if you sell the wrong thing. They'll even let you send stuff in and then tell you that you've done something wrong later, depending on who the people are that own the name brands on certain stuff. But as long as you're somewhat careful with that kind of thing, you can go on ahead and find products. I do a lot of wholesale buying. Yeah?
Justin, I'm going to stop you just for a second. When you sign up for Amazon, is it like someone signing up for a regular account, or do you sign up differently?
No, you need to sign up for a vendor, or for an actual seller account. There's buyer accounts, obviously, which everybody can have instantly just by buying something on there, and they'll give you a Prime account for $12.50 a month or whatever. But that's all just a buy. As far as selling, it's been a long time since I did it, but I believe there's a little button on the bottom that says sell on Amazon, you click on that, or you could just say, you could type it into your Google browser that it say something to the effect of sell on Amazon, click on the link that they give you, and then you can sign up your account. As I was saying, you really want to sign up as a business, because if you don't, it'll hold up your account. They won't give it to you right away, or they might not give it to you at all, which means that you need a EIN number rather than your social security number, and you need some kind of a business structure, whether it be a partnership or whether it be an LLC or whether it be a corporation, of which I have one in an LLC, which seems to work just fine. Then they have some place to pay, basically is what it is, and then they can hold you accountable for the taxing, or the government can, and it makes it easier for them and easier for you. So that's, I would assume, why they do that. From there, you've got, obviously there are millions of different things that you can sell on Amazon, because they sell millions of different things, literally, probably 50 different categories. If you come to the Wednesday calls at some point, I'm sure I'll put together a presentation of how to search for products so that you can know how many you're selling. There's different programs you can buy to tell you how many they sell per month, and how you can estimate how many you will actually sell if you buy into that specific product. And then from there, you make your buys, and you make, a lot of it is making contacts with people that you buy things from so that you can resell them, obviously. Then there's other tricks, such as I do all mine on FBA, which means Amazon actually does all the delivery, all the everything. They deal with all the clientele. Okay, now and then I get a message from them that gets past their thing, but if it'll usually be something like, hey, what is this? Or, hey, I didn't receive my order. And then basically what happens is I reply with, well, you have to open a case with Amazon because they do the shipping, which takes all that heat off of you. So, I mean, from there, basically, I'll come up with, once we do a Wednesday thing for me, I'll come up with a whole presentation on how to search for products and things like that. But I don't think I'll get into it here because it's already pretty late, and that would take basically a good hour and a half just to explain how to search for things and to pull up a few different slides so I can show you stuff. And I don't even know how to share my screen, so I don't even think I could do that yet. So I'll have to sit down with Chuck before the next time we do it, and get a little program together so that everybody can kind of learn a lot more from it. But that's kind of the gist of the Amazon thing. And then from there, I mean, basically there's they have their how much they charge you for doing things, and then there's shipping costs and stuff like that. And so you have to find out how much your product is going to cost you / how much Amazon wants for it, and make sure that you can sell it for more than that so that you can make some profits. If you're not making profits, there's no point in doing it because it's just a lot of work. And so what's the point of doing a lot of work if you're not at least going to put up, some money in your pocket? So that's kind of the basis of it. And from there, if anybody has any questions, I'll be glad to answer a few quick questions.
I have a question. How many products do you have online at any given time?
I've probably got, wow, 250, 300 products.
Okay, wow. Okay. So, and how many of those products are you shipping out of your own house?
0.
So you don't handle anything?
Well, it comes through. Some of it depends on the wholesaler that I buy from. Some of them will actually send directly to Amazon for me, which is awesome. Then I don't even have to look at them. They never hit my house. I never see them. They sell them through Amazon. They go on their way. That's that. Other ones, some of the people will only send to me. They don't send to second party, third party spots. So then I have to basically take them, repackage them, and send them to Amazon. So that's really the only time that any of the products actually see my house. So I do have a bunch of contacts that are like that. I also have some local spots that I buy from where I actually just go pick up the product and then throw it in a box and send it to wherever Amazon wants it. But as far as sending it to an individual, it's like if you, Chuck, ordered, say, product C from my list, I'm not actually going to be the one putting it in the box and sending it to you. Somebody at Amazon, some robot's going to pick it off a shelf, drop it in a box, send it to the guy so we can make sure it's in the box. They're going to tape it up and put the label on it and send it to you. So yeah, like literally I don't do any of that. So
wow, that's awesome.
Do you
So-
ever look at the product up
Go ahead.
front,
No.
or is it all just kind of finding the wholesaler? Like, do you ever actually like touch the product and look at the quality of it, or are you just like good enough?
I mean, a lot of it is that I do is name brand stuff. So it just really works for me. So that's what I do. I mean, I do have a few private label products, which is a whole nother story. Then obviously you want to see what you're getting, you know, because you're going to buy 2,000 of these things. So you got to know what you're getting in advance. You got to know that the company that's selling it to you is reputable. You got to know that they're going to give you what they say they're going to give you. Because if you send 2,000 of them to Amazon and none of them work, then you've got 2,000 problems on your hand. And that's absolutely not what you want. So to answer your question, yeah, I do get them in my hands quite often. If it's, say, I don't know what, I'm not going to give away what I sell, but let's just say it's a scale, AccuMark scale or something like that, and you know they're widely sold throughout the world. I'm not necessarily going to be too worried about getting it into my hands as long as I know I'm getting it from the distributor themselves that is actually going to sell me a real product and not a fake one. So, I mean, that's really the only thing that you really have to worry about is maybe somebody selling you something that it isn't quite what they say it is, but that's, you know, doing your due diligence. So if you know the people that you're buying it from or you're buying it directly from the company, then you don't really have that situation. So then you can avoid that whole looking at it thing. And, you know, if you get one or two of them and you know that they've got the legit thing, then from there, if they'll actually send it for you, then you don't have to worry about it there either. So it really depends on what the product is and where you're getting it and, you know, how many of them you're getting. If you're only getting 5, then who cares? If you're getting 2,000, maybe you should be worried about it. You know, so it really depends on what it is.
Does anyone else have a question? Or any of them, for Jose or Shelly or Justin? Wow, okay. Well, I will tell you that if you guys do want more information, I put the link down in the chat box for our Wednesday night call. If you would like an in-depth explanation or teaching, I guess, of what they're doing, then please click on the link, check it out, and come join us on Wednesdays. And with that, thank you, Shelly. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Jose. And Gina, thanks for joining us. And Marie and Miss iPhone. Or Mr. iPhone. Not sure. But that's it. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right, everybody.
We will see you again next week.
All right. See you guys.